Das ist gut. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love, the birthplace of independence, the home of the Liberty Bell, the Eagles, go Birds, the cheesesteak, hometown of Will Smith, Patti LaBelle, Bradley Cooper, most importantly, me. Bonjour mon petit chifle, Amber here, and this vlog that you're about to watch, one, was filmed a year ago. Mind your business. Two, was inspired by when the idea came to me when I was reading that one book by Chuck Wendig, Book of Accidents, is that what that's called? Sure. Which takes place in Pennsylvania, and if you recall, there's a clip from when I was reading that in October of 2021, I guess, where I had the idea that I proposed the idea that I do a vlog reading books that solely take place in my home state in Pennsylvania. I always enjoy books set in Pennsylvania. Well, upon finding the books for said vlog, it turned into, or I guess narrowed down to, books set in Philly, which if for some reason you don't know is where I'm from. And yeah, this was a journey. The books you are going to see in this vlog are Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed, which I've had forever and finally read. Sky Falling by Mia Mackenzie. We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. And then the graphic novel Anne of West Philly by Ivy Noel Weir and illustrated by Maisha Haynes. And also A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. So sit down, get a snack, you know, cheesesteak, water ice, hoagie, Wawa, whatever tickles your pickle. And let's read some books.
Harper Teen and Harper Audio present Something Strange and Deadly by Susan Dennard. Performed by Emily Wuzeller. Chapter 1. Dad! A woman screamed. It's the dead!
Hello, good evening. I am exhausted and sore. I'm finally sitting down. I'm eating dinner. Here's a clip that I filmed of the food for some reason. But I am on, excuse me, page 10 or so of Such a Fun Age. And I am already really pissed off by what's going on in the book. We're at the point where Amira, who's our main character, is being questioned about her relationship with this child that she babysits and whether or not she essentially has kidnapped the kid. And like, the scene is just escalating and I know where it's going. And pairing that with the fact that I'm reading We Do This to We Free Us right now, which is, if you don't know, it's about like transformative justice and abolishing the police and all that. But you know, within the essays we talk about a lot of like cases and the history of the police and whatever, and just knowing where this scene is probably going to end up is unsettling to my spirit. Also, I'm curious about Kylie Reed. I'm curious as to whether Kylie Reed is from Philadelphia or just lives in Philadelphia. There's something about the tone that feels like it's trying to read as a Philadelphia native while not necessarily being a Philadelphia native. I'll have to hit the Google. But yeah, I don't know how much more I'm reading tonight because I'm very tired and having a little bit of trouble focusing. Maybe that'll change once I finish eating. But I just thought I'd update you a little bit about my mindset right now, and also maybe I'm stalling a bit so I won't have to continue reading this scene. But shout out to Penn State sweatshirt. Good afternoon. I hate the way this lip balm looks on my lips. Good afternoon. It is, what time is it? 1:19 on July 7th, and I am about to start reading Such a Fun Age, but first I needed to decompress and talk about what I read yesterday. I thought by waiting I'd be less confused and angry, but I'm not. I'm really not. And I'm not really sure if I'm looking forward to going back into the book. But to backtrack for a moment, I've been using these Eagles green tabs to point out like inaccuracies of the city, like little pet peeves. Like for example, this one's not even like really Philly specific, but I'm just like, what year does this take place? Because when Alex, the mother of Briar, the child, talking about moving back to Philly from New York, suddenly she's spending $10 at the movies and not $14. And I'm like, what? That's not a Philly thing. Movies here haven't been like $10 since the early mid-90s. Or what was the other? Oh, the biggest pet peeve for me actually is the fact that as of page 113, not a single person has said the word Philly. It's instead of Philadelphia. I don't know a single Philadelphian who routinely says the full name of the city. I was even in Nashville once, and the guy, our Lyft driver, asked where I was from. I was like, oh, Philadelphia. He's like, oh, Philly. I was like, yeah. Anyway, so here's the problem. So, I don't know how to say this without spoiling anything. I'm not enjoying how our main character is responding or reacting, processing racial I don't know how. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put spoiler really big on the screen and then also check the timestamps because I have to talk about this. How is it you're telling me, first and foremost, you're telling me you have been basically dating this man for like a month. You met this man when you're being racially profiled, right? And you only talked about race with him once. Let's start there. There is no amount of horny in the world where I'm out with a man, he hits the N-word with a hard R, I don't care in what context, and then I'm like, yeah, let's go back to your place. She's like, I'm gonna let it slide. It just, girl, if you don't just get a vibrator and call it a day. I'm so, wow. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't feel like this book was written for me, if you catch my drift. But now I have to finish reading it, because I've jumped through a lot of hoops to find it in storage. So, once again I ask, is Kylie Reed from Philadelphia or just living in Philadelphia? Because there really is a difference. So answers, I've gotten some answers. Sorry, I'm sitting directly under the air. So I had to Google, because after once again reading that Amira was going on the train, I'm sitting here like, the subway, the L, the regional rail, please be specific, we have multiple trains here. I finally had to Google, because I'm like, there's no way. And am I being overly nitpicky because this is my city? Yes. And if you're going to set something in a city, at least, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm doing too much, but I feel like you're gonna set this in a city, I feel like you should commit to it. You should commit, cause especially if you know people from that place are also gonna read your book. Or even like this sentence where it says, on Wednesday, Briar and Amira went to the mall located next to the hospital where Zara worked. And I'm like, who? We have several hospitals in the city. Hupp is in, what's next to Hupp? College. Jefferson, what's next to Jefferson? There's a Starbucks next to Jefferson. There's a theater next to Jefferson. Where Temple, what's next to Temple? Temple. Temple University. Pennsylvania Hospital, that's down near South Street. Where sis? We don't even, there's not even a mall in Philadelphia. Well, in Center City, Philly. Huh? I mean, there's the gallery. There's the gallery. The fashion, I'm sorry, I should be quoting Fashion District. The gallery. There's Pennsylvania Mills or Philadelphia Mills. I don't care. It's Franklin Mills. Is there a hospital up near Franklin Mills? But it's like next to it. Great. So, oh, my point is, I hit Google. Kylie Reid was born in Los Angeles, California, and raised in Arizona, and I know. I know. I don't know when the move to Philadelphia happened, but it was recent. Good afternoon, nerds.
Love you too.
You're so annoying. Good afternoon, nerds. I'm trying to put my head in front of the light from the window so it doesn't have too much of a black glare. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, today's the last day of reading Such a Fun Age. I will say, I meant to say this yesterday, I was expecting, or I was under the impression that more would be happening. I guess it's sort of picking up now, where I'm at in the final like 100 pages. And we have like two characters sort of like in a tug of war over another character. Basically, both have this like weird sense of ownership about said character, and there's just like a lot of unhinged going on in this book, but still not like a lot happening. So I'm hoping for a full Lifetime movie in the final 100 pages of this book, because otherwise, why did I read this book?
Located about Philly. I mean, it's written about Philly.
So, allegedly. So I just finished Such a Fun Age a couple minutes ago, and I'm really going to try to keep this short. I don't want to babble too much. I'm really going to keep most of my thoughts for my wrap up at the end of the month. But I'm finished, and I'm actually just really glad that I am. This book, it didn't do anything for me. I thought it was going to be more as a book. It was just very flat and surface level. The end was completely and utterly anticlimactic and just okay. At no point did I care about any character except poor little Briar. I didn't really care about the plot. I couldn't care about the plot because a lot of the time it felt like Amira didn't care about the things that was happening to her. I've already talked about the Philly stuff, and I think I'm also nitpicking on the Philly inaccuracies because this video, this TBR, this challenge is revolving around books that, sorry, my mom is in the kitchen, that take place in, well, it was initially Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, but this is turned into just Philadelphia. Also just realized not only did no one use the word Philly in this book, there was not a single utterance of the word John in this book. Huh? Where in Philly? Where? Who? Please explain to me. Anywho, the more I talk, I think the thicker and stronger my accent's getting. So I'm gonna stop. But I will say, at least it was a quick read. I was able to fly through this. This book was not written for me. It wasn't written for me. It was not written for other women or people in Amira's own community. This is not an us book. But you know, the palm colored girlies are loving it on Goodreads, so good for you, good for Kylie. It could have at least gone into like a more thriller direction, become a little more chaotic. Anyway, I have Apollo 13 in there that I'm gonna watch. Right, so I'm still sitting with and processing. I did it again. Such a fun age. I keep almost committing the greatest blasphemy and calling it actor age, as in actor age Eve Brown. But the longer I sit, the more irritated and like annoyed I get with the book, and especially the ending of the book, or lack thereof, and just the facts that neither party was telling Amira. So I desperately need to move on, and it couldn't be at a better time. The next 2 books that I am planning to read for this video finally came. So I'm going to open that. Yes, I decided I was going to do a themed vlog and only had 1 book for the vlog, so okay. The next 2 books that I'm choosing from are Sky Falling by Mia McKenzie. I think this is like a romance of sorts. I believe that the main character had donated her eggs in the past, and this is like years later. She runs into this girl, finds out she's one of, or this girl shows up or something. She tracks her down, and that she discovers that she's her egg, and basically she starts like forming a relationship with this girl. And then it says, Sky realizes that the woman she tried and failed to pick up the other day is the girl's aunt, and now it's awkward. It sounds like it's gonna be fun and complicated and just fun and quick, so that's promising. But I also have We Are Not Like Them, is that what that's called, by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. And this one, basically, this one's told in dueling perspectives, dueling POVs, and it follows lifelong friends. And one is white, one is black, and then I believe the white woman's husband is involved in a police shooting, and basically the friends end up on opposite sides of the case and the situation. This one's feeling a little bit too similar to Such a Fun Age, so I'm probably going to read this one next to just continue decompressing from that. I also did Google, and this author is born and raised in Philly, so that's also promising. So let's do this. I look like I just woke up, because I just woke up. Anywho, before I kind of get started for the day, I wanted to pop in and say reading this book was such a good decision. It's doing exactly what I needed to. It is so refreshing to go from that last book to this book. It's giving what I needed to give. The characters feel authentic. We're talking about real places here. You know, we've been to Baltimore Avenue. This book takes place in West Philly, 52nd Street. Shout out to my mom. Mentioned Kappa, which I'm surprised I didn't go to Kappa, is what I'll say. You know, they're taking the L as opposed to just the train. Also, I love like the mention of how big a deal murals are in the city. I don't know, just reading that made me excited, because I've always just been obsessed with murals, and I guess it's from growing up around them constantly, so when I'm in other places and I see murals, I'm like, oh my god. I have like so many pictures of random murals from different cities and states. What else did I want to say? I wrote notes. The city feels real and like vivid, like its own character, and I'm enjoying reading this book so far. Our main character is a mess though. Yeah, also she runs this like black travel group program thing, and I love that. I could see me doing something like that. So I'm currently watching Becoming Elizabeth, so I'm gonna go. I'm like 2 episodes behind, I think. I'm gonna read and I'm gonna see you later. Okay, I have oatmeal now. Oh no, okay. That's crooked. I have oatmeal now, but I wanted to pop in and because I wanted to read this part really quickly. So Sky is currently helping her eggs neighbor get into a locked room. The neighbor is like asking all in her business. So it goes, you don't live in Philadelphia? Nope, but you're from here, aren't you? You don't have much of the accent, but there's, she thinks about it, Philadelphian energy about you. First of all, I say that about so many people. I sort of know what she means. I can usually identify a Philadelphian if I run into one out in the world. And that just reminded me of when we were in London. We were in the train station going to Manchester, and like this group of like, I don't know if I talked about this before, this group of like 5 or 6, maybe, there were a lot of like black women got off the one train and they were like connecting trains, I guess. And you know, wasn't like, you know, being nosy, too invested in what was going on. I was like, oh look, hey, you know the look, you know, black people, you know the look. Then they started talking and my head whipped around so fast. I was like, so I was like, I know that accent anywhere. It just reminded me of that. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. That wasn't really worth it pop-in, but that just made me think of that, and I miss international travel. Okay, thanks, bye. There's a nice set of porch furniture, including a rocker and a chaise. That's really close to my face. Buffet bypasses all of that and takes a seat on the front steps, which is so Philly I can't even deal. Some people describe this city as having porch culture, but what it really has is step culture. Insert every picture I have of us sitting on the steps. We are washed, we are brushed, we are moisturized, face and body. We've had a real meal with vegetables. Depression who? Now we're just I am just battling my uterus. Anywho, last night I finished Sky Falling and I am so glad I went ahead and picked this one up. This was absolutely the right move. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I think I've said basically all my thoughts about it. My favorite part is the character of Philadelphia as a whole, and just how accurate and vivid the description of the city and the people in it is, and just, you know, the dialogue between characters, the sense of community, just like the tidbits that you only know if you are from or have spent a significant amount of time in Philly and amongst Philadelphians. It was fun reading bits out loud to my mom and just her getting excited about like places she's familiar with, people she's familiar with, just like Philly culture. And I feel like this was a great buffer book. So now I'm going to move on to Sky was an interesting character. While she's not necessarily a likable character and there's nothing really groundbreaking about the story itself, there was a lot about her character that I felt really called out about. Like, I felt like Maddie at Lexi's play a lot, especially regarding her issues with relationships with people and trusting people. But that's a conversation for another day and a conversation for a therapist. But I'm gonna move on to, what is that book called? We Are Not Like Them Now. And that is it. That's it. In the words of Mrs. Doubtfire, hello! Anyway, today is the 14th of July, and I started We Are Not Like Them yesterday. I'm only 25 pages in. I'm gonna warn you, if you pick up the book, it starts right off the bat with the trauma. Like, we know that this involves a police shooting, but the very prologue of the book is through the point of view of the victim in the moments after being shot. Also, it's a 14-year-old boy, so that's a lot to deal with. And so far, I only read the first chapter through the black best friend's point of view, who is a news reporter. And the chapter ends with both of them, her and her white best friend, who is the wife of the cop who shot the boy, finding out that about what happened, because they were hanging out together because they're best friends, like I said. And I just feel like this is going to be something. It's going to be interesting, an interesting narrative, I guess, having them both on either side of the case. But this is also going to be a lot for someone with white friends who has in a lot of cases had to cut off a lot of people for similar, not in the case that they were in any way involved, but like, you know, black people, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna go read this. Hopefully I can read 100 pages today. I don't know, because we've restarted Ghost Brothers, which is my favorite paranormal show. Black people ghost hunting, chef's kiss. Okay, I'll see you. I have like my, okay, I'll see you sometime later. That I remembered that I had another camera, that I have my big camera that had another SD card in it, because have I told you what's going on? So for the past like I guess almost 2 weeks now, I have been without my laptop. I've been kind of almost practically deviceless. Hear me out. I've been without my laptop for almost 2 weeks because my charger, may she rest in peace, she finally gave up on me. I knew I had already known I needed a new one because it started like breaking, but I was on a budget. I've been on a budget recently. I made a really big payment recently, so I've kind of been like pinching, you know, pinching pennies. But as I'm using my laptop, the charger, a nice hefty little sizzle goes up the whole charger and almost electrocutes me because it was on my lap, like on my leg. It also almost caught fire. So that's done. And I finally was able to order a new charger, which I've been waiting for. It should be here Wednesday, but I guess it's taking longer because it's a very old model. I've been using my laptop since 2013. One of my goals for the year was to get a new laptop, but that's not gonna happen. God knows when that's gonna happen. But anyway, so between that and my phone, also was supposed to get a new phone this year, didn't happen. My phone likes to play games with me where it decides that it's full even when it's really not. And my battery's flashing. So I've had very limited use of my phone. I've had to delete almost every app on my phone. I didn't have many to begin with. Yeah, it's not been fun. Anyway, So I found a memory card. The point is I found an SD card because I didn't have space on the 2 that I had because I haven't been able to move things off the camera. Point is, hold on. Point is, I finished reading We Are Not Like Them, and I've kind of been like trying to sit with it and figure out what I really think about it. I'm not entirely sure. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure what the point of it or like what the message of the story is, aside from, hey, don't worry, despite racism, you can keep your white people. Which, and when I say that, I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't. I'm the last person that can. That I just feel like I don't know. I saw someone on Goodreads say that this book was like written for the book clubs because it's like hits all the talking points, or it's written in like a talking point format, sort of. It hits all the points that they're going to talk about in the book clubs. All of the I don't know how to describe this book or describe what about it kind of irritates me and what about it was missing. The premise was really interesting. I thought it was like a promising, it had potential, but there was something missing for me that I can't quite put my finger on. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that I don't want to say it was surface level because it did talk about a lot of things, but the way it was written was it just felt like talking points basically. And I feel like Riley faced more consequences or had to do more soul searching or unlearning or whatever than Jen. And then the whole Corey thing at the end was really strange, and it just felt like hey, the solution to your friends being on the other side of you during like a racial tension, racial moment is just, it's simply having a conversation. It's simply, this is all, your friends, it's just a misunderstanding. And I'm like, no, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. I have lost a chunk of friends and have lost respect for a lot of people in my life because it's not that easy. As far as like Philly, it was just set in Philly. I mean, it did feel like they had an understanding of like the layout of the city, and it did talk about at least like real places, and you could sort of. I am moving on. I'm deviating from my Philly TBR, and I'm picking up my book club pick of the month. With The Fireflies New, I'm about 15 pages in, so I don't really have many thoughts. The writing style is easy to attach to and get into, so that's good. That's promising. I intended to be farther in the book, but I went to my godmother's house yesterday, so I didn't get any reading done. Okay. Hello. I have a couple things to talk about. First and foremost is that I finished reading With Fireflies New last night. I'm still kind of sitting with my thoughts and like gathering exactly what I want to say about it. For the most part, I enjoyed the book. It was a story. There's something really interesting about child protagonists and child narrators. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. But what I'm really sitting down to talk about is the fact that now I can go back to my Philly, this lighting is so gross, I'm so sorry. My Philly TBR, and I just got the last 2 books that I plan to read for this. Also, when I went to go get it, at the door, the hallway is so hot. It felt like I was walking through water. It's unbearable outside. Yay! Oh, this is bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. So for the last 2 books, I have Anne of West Philly, which is a graphic novel retelling, I guess, of Anne of Green Gables, but set in, as the title implies, West Philly. That's really all I know, and this kind of is fitting because KB, the main character of What the Fireflies Knew, her favorite book is Anne of Green Gables, and she spends so much of this book like kind of with Anne as a guide and an inspiration, basically. So this is, I feel like I should read this next just because of that. And then I have A Brush with Love, which has been recommended to me. Anne of West Philly was also recommended to me. And all I know about this is that this is a romance that follows, I believe, a dentist or something. Top oral surgery residency program. So dental students, I guess. I'm not sure if I would have picked this up based on that premise alone if it wasn't set in Philadelphia, but here's hoping that it's a good one. So like I said, I'm probably going to start with Anne of West Philly. I don't think I'm going to start it today though. I want to get some editing done, and I want to watch Ghost Brothers, and I want to just kind of relax. But I just wanted to let you know what's up. I just did some writing sprints with my friend Ash. Now that I have my laptop again, I can try to get something done. Yeah, so happy, what's today? Tuesday? Thursday.
Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Thursday. Also, I'm gonna try to get Paramore tickets tomorrow. Hello, welcome to the motherland. Is that my mom? I think that's my mom. Good afternoon. Today's another day where we are washed, brushed, moisturized, face and body. I got a bunch of new skincare because I've been like running out, and also my skin has been dehydrated. So I wanted to I thought it was time to do a skincare overhaul and kind of start over. So I'm trying some new things out, and we're glowing. Loving that. Anywho, what am I talking about? The last time, I haven't spoken to you since I think I was starting Anne of West Philly. I ended up reading this in one sitting. I mean, it's a graphic novel, so that is not difficult to do. And I thought, I think the artwork's really, really cute, and I like the art style, the colors. The coloring is vibrant and just, you know, pleasant to look at. As far as the story, I don't know, I'm kind of particular about my Anne of Green Gables. I know it's a retelling, and I know how retellings work, and I know a lot of times there are going to be changes to things, and usually that doesn't bother me. But I'm so picky about Anne of Green Gables that I'm of two minds. And while I do like some of the changes, and some of them I'm like, yeah, obviously that makes sense, but at the same time I'm like, okay, but where is my over dramatic Tennyson loving? And this one's just mainly really chaotic, you know. And that's fine. That's still very much Anne, but I don't know. And the story itself just felt very surface. And I don't read a lot of graphic novels, so I'm not really sure how like it would work, how, I don't know, there's just something flat about, I don't know. It's also middle grade, so, but even as middle grade, it felt lacking a little bit. Also just felt like it was randomly set in a place and didn't really have the feel of, oh, I'm tipping over, West Philly. But you know, what do? We move. So I'm currently reading A Brush with Love. This is the final book that's actually on my set TBR, and I'm 120 pages, and I've sort of been struggling to read the past couple of days. I think the day before yesterday, I was like really struggling with like a lot of fatigue, and my equilibrium was really off. Side note, I go to the doctor this week, so that's great. Yesterday, I guess, was a little bit left over of that, and I was also just struggling to focus. I was struggling to get into the book. As of right now, I am getting more into the story. I am enjoying Dan and Harper. Their chemistry is really believable. They're very cute together. I just think things are happening real fast. There is a bit of like insta something. I won't say love, but like insta something, and like insta something, you know? Also, Daniel is from Haverford. A Delco boy, please run. Harper, run. There is not a single Delco boy. Okay, I say Delco. If you're from this area, you know that there's a difference between Delco and Delaware County. Delaware County is like your Haverford, your Media, your Springfield. Delco is your Sharon Hill, your Glen Olden, your Fallcroft, your Collingdale. I am from Delco. Let's get that straight. But people outside of the area don't know the difference. I'm just going to continue saying Delco. Delco boy, there's not a single one that is like this. Not a one. And if you expect me to believe that Dan Craig is from Delaware County, Pennsylvania, you're mistaken. Where? Our sweet cinnamon roll, charming, lovely boy. Don't make me laugh. Please don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. Don't do that. Also, I don't know. I find it hard to imagine any sort of supermarket, any sort of public space in Philadelphia where you are racing carts in the market without someone being like, what are you doing? Now y'all know we got attitude problems here. Please stop. Please stop. You can just kind of tell that. You can always tell the ones, the Philly implants, I'll say. Is that the word? Yeah. When I was reading Sky Falling, there was the description. Sky's brother, was it Slade? Sloan? Slade was saying, was it Slade? No, it wasn't Slade. It was Nick. Was that man's name? You know, Philadelphians are like some of the friendliest people. And that's true until it's not, you know? And I feel like in that situation, it's a until it's not. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get a majority of this finished today. I'd like to be done between today and tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Uh-oh. Is she dropping the visual? Don't tell me this was just the ad, because I will fist fight Beyonce. Good night. Good afternoon, besties. Now, would this be a Philly vlog if we didn't at some point have Philly cheesesteaks? Let's go get dinner. Now, don't let these people lie to you. Don't let them play in your face. I'm out of breath. The best Philly cheesesteak is, in fact, not in Philly. It's actually in Sharon Hill. Let's go, Delco. Okay, so like I said, this vlog was filmed in July, yeah, of 2022. It is now 2 days before July 2023. So I don't remember everything that I would have said if I had actually ended this when I was supposed to. None of my feelings about the books are fresh, but I do know that my favorites of this vlog were definitely Sky Falling and A Brush with the Love. They were both surprises. Ooh, I lisped really hard right there. I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed both of them. I don't know if I actually said this when I finished reading it, but I'm just gonna read what I wrote down. So, right, yes, okay. I thought this book was going to be more. I wasn't necessarily expecting more in terms of my emotional connection. I just thought that there would be more to the book. Nothing really happened. There were no conversations or plot points or real substance. Sure, we talk about racism and privilege and white guilt, but none of it was done in an impactful or creative, or I don't know, impactful or creative way. I don't know, everything and everyone felt so surface level. At certain points, it felt like we were navigating into thriller, Lifetime territory, which would have added something to the story. At the end of the day, Amira wasn't written for me. For the women in her own community. This book was for the Alexes, the Kellys. Amira as a character and the way she reacted to the things going on around her turned my stomach. It says, and Tamra, like, I get it, but the only character I cared for was poor little Briar. And then, I know I talked about this in depth. From a nitpicky place, maybe because of the theme of this TBR and this vlog, this felt like it was written by someone who visited once. It was just winging it. I mean, the only Philly native in the whole book was 8-month-old Catherine. The city was only referenced by its full name. I don't know a single person that doesn't just say Philly. Also, not a single John. Bye. I think this book didn't do it for me at all. The ending was anticlimactic and absolutely rushed, and I can't believe I went through so much to find it. It was a quick read though, thankfully. That was fun. Maybe I should go through all of these because I don't know if I concluded them properly in the vlog clip. So for Sky Falling, I said, this book was such a relief to read after such a fun age. Everything that I complained about was rectified in this read. The city and the people in it were written so accurately and there's the AC, sorry, and vibrantly and tangibly. I don't even know if that makes sense. Philly felt like a character itself, written by someone who knows and loves their city through and through. And while there was nothing really groundbreaking about the story itself, I enjoyed it. There was also a lot about Sky that directly called me out, and how I didn't see that, and relate to others as how I connect and relate to others as a result of things I've experienced. This was a quality buffer read, and I definitely read more from Mia in the future. For We Are Not Like Them, I said, I am unsure about this one. While I found the premise interesting and felt like the story had a lot of potential, there was something missing that I can't quite pinpoint. I'm struggling to understand the real point of this book. and the outcome. So Anne of West Philly, the novella, which was based on Anne of Green Gables. I just said this was fine. I read it in one sitting, and while I think the illustrations and art style are really cute and vibrant, I'm of two minds. While I like some of the changes made to the story, some make a ton of sense, I'm still too particular when it comes to Anne of Green Gables. I know how retellings work, but not too much. Not too much. Simmer down. I want my Tennyson quoting drama queen of a writer. Also, the character of Anne felt more chaotic than dramatic, and a lot of the story just skimmed the surface. Would I recommend it? Not necessarily. Just read the original or watch the movie, which I have 1.5 billion times. And then my brush with Loved One is very long, so just a sec. You know, if it wasn't for my theme to TBR, I most likely never would have picked this up. Maybe it's because as someone dreading having to go to the dentist, reading about dental students didn't initially appeal to me. I'm very glad that I was wrong. This book was very cute. It took me a second to get into it or get on board because of just how fast we were thrust into feelings and attraction, but once I got past that, I sort of flew through it. The portrayal of Harper's anxiety was so accurate, how overwhelming and all-consuming and exhausting it can be. I also really appreciate how Harper's anxiety frequently manifested in anger and lashing out. That's an aspect that I really relate to and don't see too often, definitely not in romance. I liked Harper a lot, most likely because, like I said, I relate to her a lot. I thought her friendship group was fun. I actually envy them a bit, and that Harper has a solid group like that. Let's not get too personal, Emperor. And I will definitely be continuing through their story. This is yet another book giving me unrealistic standards / expectations, because in all my years I have never met a Delco guy that is as sweet and lovely as Stan, and yet here I am, boo boo the fool. And yet here I am, boo boo the fool, holding out hope while the speed and intensity while the speed and intensity of his feelings caught me off guard. I loved how, I don't know, steady he was for Harper. Me when God. Well, I was going through it after I read this book. We complain a lot about the third act breakup and how it's usually unnecessary miscommunication. The breakup in this book actually made a lot of sense to me, and I appreciate the work put in for them to get back together. My only real complaints were the fact that romances that heavily lean into the, what does that say? Lean into the, oh, roms that lean heavily into the calm. Okay, that's not, should connect the O fully. Aren't always my cup of tea. That's pretty much how I feel about all comedy, and once again, I'm a bit nitpicky, but this could have been any city. I like my Philly books to feel like Philly. Implant authors are easy to spot. With that, I feel like I have nothing else to say. Thank you for watching this. If you liked it, please give this a thumbs up. Maybe I will do a future sequel to this and broaden out to the rest of Pennsylvania, or we could continue with my particular roots and lineage, and maybe I'll go back a generation, and from Philly I can go to reading books set in North Carolina. I don't think I can 99% guarantee there's not a single book that takes place in the town where my family's from, or the county where my family's from, but just do the state. So anyway, like I said, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below, so you can follow me and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon. I'll see you eventually.